Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. And once again, we are taking our show on the road, not too far away from our studio space at City Hall.
That's right, Lindsay. Today we are on location at the Dublin Community Recreation Center's new esports programming center called the Respawn Lounge. Yes. And our guests today are Director of Recreation Services, Tracey Gee, and Recreation Program Supervisor, Phil Gross. Welcome to Link Ahead.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And Tracey, not only are you a longtime member of the City of Dublin leadership team, but you are also an avid gamer, right?
I am. You've outed me.
And what about you, Phil?
I would not say I'm an avid gamer, but I've learned a lot in the last year as we've kind of pulled this together. I played a lot of console games growing up, but I've learned a lot in the PC world recently in the last year or so.
Well, that's not a bad gig, really. Hey, we need you to play some video games.
Wait, not all games have joysticks anymore? I thought we were...
There are worse things to be tasked with at work, that's for sure.
Right. Well, we absolutely love to venture out from City Hall when the opportunity presents itself. And we are in our coolest location that we've been so far,
this
I
is
think.
Awesome.
Because, we're in the Respawn Lounge. So tell our listeners a little bit about this, starting with the name. For those of us who aren't avid gamers, what's behind that name?
So Respawn is a gamer term for coming back to life. So when you're playing a video game and you die, coming back to life is respawning. There's usually respawn locations. So we thought it would be a really good, cool name to use for a space where people can come and experience esports.
And Phil, why did we originally set our sights on esports?
Esports is an up-and-coming area and really something that we started to look at really when I got hired a couple years ago, but I know Tracey had mentioned it even in the hiring process as kind of an objective to look at and explore, and really that pre-teen, teen audience is something we're always trying to tap into as they're have a number of different schedule things that they get into, and it's just really hard to get them to come to our space and get into our programmings. So with the growth of esports, particularly really hit the ground running over the pandemic, was something we were really interested in getting into and looking into, and we spent a lot of time researching this area, particularly where do we fit in. We didn't want to step on toes. We didn't know where we would fit in. We didn't know what else was going on in the area, both here in Dublin and in this greater Central Ohio community. So it's something we're really excited to be talking about right now. I feel like it's been a long time in the making for us here, and this room didn't just happen overnight, so We're really excited to have you here joining us and really to be sharing it with the community here in the next week or two.
Awesome.
Well, you're right. This is up and coming, and you guys are very cutting edge on this. There aren't a lot of cities, a lot of communities doing something like this. So what partners did you work with to understand the ecosystem?
Yeah, we started locally here. We started locally. We started with some esports tournaments, truthfully, before we even talked about having a physical space. So we partnered with a private company, Game Arena, which is like a normal program area for us, and we hosted an esports tournament, which was Super Smash Brothers, out of our community hall. And truthfully, we had way higher enrollment than we would have ever guessed initially, and it just kind of led to more and more conversations about what else were possibilities that we could do.
There's another partner we should probably talk about too internally. Our IT department has been a huge help. Our former IT director actually named the Respawn Lounge. It was his idea. But we have several guys in the IT department who have helped out. They're gamers themselves. So we worked with them to identify not only how to set this up on our network, make it safe for everyone, but also which rigs should we pick, which games should we pick, and we couldn't have done this without them.
And then we've talked to local organizations, both at the high school. We talked to the Dublin City Schools, specifically the coaches at Dublin Kaufman, and then we talked with Ohio State University, really just to see what they were doing in the community, to try to figure out where we could support what they are already doing and where we could help grow things that maybe there are weaknesses for them, or to help feed what they're already doing and existing with. So we talked to their coaches at length, and really we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what we could do to support what they're already doing, and that's kind of where we started. And the more and more we talked about it, they both had their own physical locations, so we knew necessarily providing our own physical space wasn't going to be new to them, but where we could start with was the younger audience and that preteen and teen, which is where we're starting with most of our programming. Really something I think that will support them with what they're already doing, and we hope to continue to lean on those two in particular and continue to work with Game Arena to provide new programming opportunities outside of what we're already doing internally.
Right. This is huge in the schools. I started to notice at city council meetings, they would have state champion teams of esports coming in. And I was like, well, you can win a state championship in esports. I didn't have that when I was in high school, but no surprise to anyone, Dublin City Schools has really stellar programs.
Yeah, it wasn't a surprise to me that they had it. It was more a surprise that they were quite as far along as they were. Truthfully, even when we visited Dublin City Schools, I think they built their esports centers during the pandemic, where they were given a grant from the state of Ohio. But they are really great shape, really good equipment that they have available to them. And one of the things that their coaches had shared is they have great opportunities for the high school kids, but not quite as much for the beginner into esports. They don't, once they find out about it at the high school level, maybe it's a little bit too late to just think of starting a traditional sport at the high school level anymore. You have to start at a younger age. So how do we get more people in our community for awareness of what it is and how to get involved, and then to provide those opportunities, which we're able to do now with this physical space. So we're super excited about that.
And that's kind of, Lindsay, I sound like a broken record on the podcast when I talk about how Dublin is always thinking of the next step.
Yes.
What's next? Do you have a teen lounge with a foosball table? No, we're done with that. We've moved on to esports. And what's great about it is, if you have kids new to like t-ball, you don't just go sign up for travel. You have them come and do a recreation program first. And so you guys are like that first step to the bigger path of esports.
And that's similar to everything that we do in rec services. If you think about, local organizations like DSL and DYA that provide traditional sports, we're always looking to see, what is the spectrum of services offered? What do they offer? What's offered in the high schools? What's offered in the college setting? And how do we find our place in that ecosystem? And so that's what we did here. We kind of surveyed the whole spectrum of programs and services, tried to find where we think we could fit. And I think that's in an introductory way. It's with tournaments and leagues, it's with programming, and it's with drop-in hours. So that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the really exciting things for me, exciting and challenging at the same time, as we started to research what possibilities there were and what other community centers were doing. There wasn't a lot of other community centers that we could figure out what they had, or if they did have something, we didn't know about it. So there wasn't a lot of other like-minded institutions doing kind of the same thing that we're trying to do. So that was challenging at one part, but also exciting on the other hand, knowing that we're a little bit out in front of things, and really excited to be at where we're at now.
Yeah. So tell us more about the operations side. Sunday drop-in hours, league play. How can people check this out?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're really excited about. So we're starting with open hours will be on Sunday afternoons, really just dipping our toes in the water here as we're broadening it to the community now and allowing kids to come in or adults to come in and utilize the space, so they can come in and just play a game on their own. They could come in with friends. You can come in here and play with other students who aren't here, but maybe in a different location. So the possibilities are really exciting there. And then we're doing some internal programming. Like I said, this is new to our community and new to us. So we're really trying to broaden that out a little bit, and we'll be offering some intro to esports programming as well as some game specific programming as well. And one of the last things we're doing is we're partnering with XP League. They're going to be a partner of ours to offer some league play. So there are opportunities for both beginner and more competitive league play, which is something we're really excited about, and allows you to have a consistent time. So you'll practice and you'll have a match one day a week for both of those. So it follows a traditional sports schedule as well. But then there's also a different number of opportunities. If you're not ready for the league play, if you want to just learn more about what it is we're offering and what kind of games we have and how to get involved, you can just come to a drop-in hour, or you can try one of our intro programming. So we're trying a number of different things. And one of the things that we're particularly, like anything we do, we always solicit feedback and provide, sure. Like if we're missing something, or we're listening to our community a ton here just to have kind of back and forth and doing different surveys. And we ran some open houses over the summer to really try to, again, we have a better idea of where we fit in, but we don't have the whole picture figured out. We're constantly talking to our community to figure that out.
And Phil, you hit on this. This initiative is meant to be a grassroots effort. So talk about how you hope to grow this program.
Yeah, so what we've seen from some of the private institutions, for example, there are a number of different opportunities in terms of, like, we could explore to have more just open hours throughout the week, throughout the weekend, rather than just the one day a week right now. But we really want to build up and generate that interest before we kind of are open all day, every day. And then really just being so new, we're optimistic the community will respond very quickly to this. And we've seen that a little bit with some of the pop-up camps and open houses we've done this summer. But really trying to generate that interest with our fall programming schedule here, and we're really excited about that.
So the Respawn Lounge is for young people 10 and up, and you're offering quite a variety of games. Now, can you fire off the list for us of all the games? Of course, have Pac-Man and sorry, that was, again, that 80s
Pong.
humor coming out. No Pong. Sorry. Can you tell us about what, like parents that are listening that have no clue about video games, what are the games that their kids could play here?
Sure, I'll go through the available games, and we were very intentional with the games we selected. Of course, we were looking at some of the more popular ones that kids and adults are playing right now, but also we were mindful that we weren't sharing mature specific game titles, and very intentional that a parent could feel comfortable dropping off their kid, and they're limited to what the games that we have, but we are also making sure the games that we're selecting are games that kids are interested in. So starting off, we have Fortnite, we have Rocket League, we have Fall Guys, we have Valorant, we have Overwatch 2, we have League of Legends, we have Dota 2, we have Apex Legends, we have Aim Lab, and we have Minecraft. And one of the things we've worked with, we started with an esports intern, and he's turned into an esports tech now. He's a little bit younger, a little bit more plugged into the gaming side of things than I am. I guess I'm dating myself as the younger one on this panel. But
says the youngest person on this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. But he's really plugged in and has been a big help. But also we did a number of open houses, and we talked to what is Ohio State doing? What is Dublin Kaufman doing? What games are popular? What games are kids responding to? What are adults playing? Because a lot of them are the same that the younger audience is playing as well. So that was a very intentional move by us, but we also wanted to make sure we had some restrictions on what you could and couldn't access in here so that a parent would feel comfortable dropping off their child to utilize our space.
When you talk about having a tech and you have people in here, are there people to say, like a coach that says, hey, I wouldn't have put my block there, I would have done something here? Is there like that feedback from people?
Depending on what type of programming you're coming into, yeah.
Okay.
So even in our open hours, we'll have an attendant here, so they'll always be supervised and be able to help with any technological challenges or any of that capacity. And then some of the leagues that we're doing, they're all Positive Coaching Alliance certified, so they're providing that. It's not always about just winning. Of course, we want to. You play to win, and a lot of these are competitive by nature, but it's more than just that. You see a lot of different aspects that you see in team sports. So you learn how to be a good teammate. You learn how to win with grace and also lose with grace. You learn how to navigate the game. So there is some instructional components of how you get better, which is kind of one of the things we're teaching with that intro to esports. It's really like, what are the games that you're playing, and then how do you start from a novice, and how do you improve your gameplay from there, right? Because the more kids are interested and understand what they're doing, the more they want to keep coming back to continue to improve.
Talking about the leagues, let's spend a little time on that, because this isn't just Dublin kids playing kids in New Albany and Hilliard. Tracey, they're competing against young people worldwide, right?
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting about this is I think people think it's kind of niche, but it's really not. The viewership in esports is massive. The viewership numbers in many cases exceeds, Major League Baseball. I think NFL is the only one that still has viewership higher. So many people touch this area, and so I think it's going to make it easy for kids to come in and get an experience, to get a taste of what this is like, and do the same, reaching across other municipalities. I think we're hoping that this catches on, and we know Westerville has a esports room as well. So I know XP Leagues has a way to connect to other municipalities and other portions of the league. So it's beginner competitive esports.
Yeah, the viewership component, you're hitting the nail on the head right there, because you talk to parents and they say their kids will spend hours watching other kids play video games, which just kind of blows your mind a little bit, but it's a sport and people like to watch it.
Yep, it's no different than any other sport.
I will say I played Lego Batman on the Wii, and there were many times I paused the game and would go to YouTube and figure out
how do
what
I
was
do
going
this
on,
better,
because I didn't want to let my son down.
He goes looking for the
you
cheats.
Go find the
I
cheat
see
codes.
that. Yeah.
No cheat codes. I just need to know how to break this wall down.
And that's one of the things, truthfully, we're doing. I don't think you can see it on the camera here, but there's 2 TVs on the wall here. One of the things futuristically we're looking at doing is potentially live streaming some of the matches through those leagues and other different possibilities in terms of broadcasting that we're able to do. So that's not something in the very short-term plans, but it's certainly part of the plans and was part of the operations of the room. So something we're really excited about to be able to do. And then, you could be playing somebody in, Austin, Texas, for example, and we could have you on screen and you could see them in this physical space here, and it'd be really neat, particularly for some of those competitive matches or even non-competitive matches, to have your teammates around you cheering you on and see the other opponents on the TV screens.
Why did he look at us when he said non-competitive matches first?
I think he knows who he's talking to. Phil knows. So in September, October, you're hosting several intro to esports sessions for different age groups, 8 to 12 and 13 to 18. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, we're very intentional with all of our programming, so esports is not going to be exclusive to that. So just try to have a specific targeted age range to provide that intro level. Obviously, an 8 to a 12-year-old is going to be much younger than that 13 to 18 audience. So really trying to set our sights on some of those beginner focus kids and then provide them an opportunity to get into this space, try it out, see what they like, see what they don't like. If you've not played PC gaming, for example, some of the students we noticed in our open houses, they've only played console based, or they only play with a Switch, or they've only played with an Xbox or a PlayStation. So this is going to be PC gaming, so it's going to look a little bit different. You can play some of those games on the consoles, but it will look different here. And I think we really want to continue to offer a variety of different offerings is what we do. I oversee preschool, youth, and teen, for example. We really want to provide a smattering of opportunities and programs for you to move your way up through preschool, youth, and teen as you get older, just like anything. So we're really excited about those possibilities to kind of grow esports here locally in our community.
There's so many related fields to that. I mean, the programming that we want to offer is not just about competitive esports. It's everything related to it. It's video production. It's launching a YouTube channel, it's coding, it's game design, it's all the fields, advertising, marketing, broadcasting, everything that's related to this industry. We're hoping to bring bits and pieces to teach kids in the community about these things.
And we mentioned one partner in XP Leagues. We have another one just down the street in The Ohio State University. OSU has an esports program led by Dr. John Price. He's been here for an esports symposium to discuss things like healthy gaming habits, the role of esports in education, and scholarship opportunities. Let's talk about that for the parents. Scholarship opportunities. How big is that, in what you're doing here?
It's something that we're seeing now, so it's great to be able to have somebody like John, or Dr. Price, come in and just talk. So someone who works professionally in the esports industry talk to our community. So it was great to have him here with us and just shed a little bit of light, hear from somebody that's not on our staff or on our team. So I think it provides some assurances and really talks about the benefits that you see in esports. And the scholarship opportunities is something that we're seeing now. I know there was a couple kids specifically at Dublin Kaufman that received thousands of dollars in the scholarship range just to go to school this past spring, now starting school this fall. So it is something that is very new and likely surprising to some folks, but there's meaningful dollars out there that are available. And we're seeing it even here in our community already right now.
We're sitting here, and this lounge is super cool. And if I'm a young kid, I might be a little intimidated because, like you said, it's making a transition from console to PC games. So kids don't have to bring their own stuff, but there are some rules in here. So Tracey, can you kind of touch on like what the rules of the road are for the room?
I think it's going to be the same in any facility. Obviously, we have a lot of expensive equipment in here. We got some really cool Alienware rigs, so we want to make sure that people come in and use those and take care of those. You can't download outside stuff. We've worked pretty closely with a company called Metactics, and that's the platform that we use to manage all the games that we provide. And so there's going to be some usage rules with those as well. And you can obviously bring your own keyboard, mouse, headset if you'd like, but we have those here if you don't have those on your own. And then it's just, regular be cool, be nice to everybody else here, and just enjoy the space and be kind and considerate of others.
So what are your favorite games? Let's start with Tracey.
Well, I'm a PC gamer, so I am a World of Warcraft girl. I have been since Vanilla, which is the original launch of that game. So that's circa 2005. I've played that game with about 10 people that have been playing it with me all along. So that's my mainstay, but I also have a 10-year-old daughter, and so we have 3 Switches in the house. So,
fun.
Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, that's big in our house right now. Smash Brothers, those kind of things. So,
what about you, Phil?
Yeah, I would say Super Smash for the console-based types of game. I grew up playing that on the Nintendo 64, so it's fun to see how it's evolved over the years. And then PC gaming-wise, I'm a little bit new in that area specifically, but I've really taken to Fortnite and to Fall Guys a little bit easier, are more popular games and easier for me to get a grip. I'm not going to be breaking any records or on those games specifically, but I've enjoyed getting to play those recently.
Lindsay, you going to answer that question as well?
Frogger?
Frogger? Well, that's where we have 16-bit. That is like when 16-bit opened, I was like, wow, that's like, thank you.
That is
thank
nice.
You so much.
How about you, Bruce? You go ahead and answer that too.
A Galaga was my jam back in the day. You know, I feel like Tracey and I might be going to 16-bit afterward to play that too.
16-bit and VR Sandbox.
There we go.
Oh, I
That's it.
haven't
Sandbox
been there
VR,
yet.
is that what it's called in
Yeah,
Dublin?
Sandbox VR.
If there's anybody out there from that place, give us a call. We'd
love to.
we need to talk on
Yeah,
some
I love
partnerships opportunities.
All right, Tracey, kind of shifting gears here. Speaking of things that you're dedicated to, our city is certainly one of them. And our residents have reaped the benefits of you being an employee for the last 25 years. How long have you been a city employee?
Just started my 28th year.
28th year. Okay. So, you know, you've said it was a love of sports and athletics as a kid that drew you to recreation services. So what is it that keeps you going here in this career?
Oh my gosh, I think it's the change. I like the change. Every year is something new, and it's the resources and the community. It's pretty unusual to have a community that so aggressively supports parks and recreation. Just across the board, there's never been a time when what we've wanted to do hasn't been supported by the community. And so that gives us an opportunity to try new things, be cutting edge to, you know, kind of what you were saying before. There's really no new idea as long as it's well thought out that we aren't able to try to execute. So I think that's what keeps me back and vitalized as a rec professional.
And so in that time, as Dublin has grown, how has Parks and Recreation grown?
It's grown exponentially. I think I was just looking through our brochure archive, and I think you can see it in there. Like
Yes,
our
we have a brochure
back from
archive.
like 19, let's see, Rec Center opened in 1996. So our first brochure had, you know, like 20 pages of programs, and we had, you know, 10, 15 staff members. And now we've got 21 full-time staff members. Our part-time staff contingent is, you know, goes up to around 300 in the summer. And our brochure has, you know, 80 to 100 pages of programs and offerings for the public. So I think that speaks to the support in the community. It speaks to how we are really good at trying to not only identify things that the community wants to do, but identify things that they don't know they need yet. And I think this is probably one of those things. Nobody probably was thinking we'd get into esports in a Parks and Recreation, you know, field, but it's something new and we're hoping to be able to grow it.
Well, and that's where, you know, you're talking about listening to residents and needs. So can you give our listeners a couple examples of how your department heard what residents were saying and how you responded to that?
Gosh, it happens every day. We see 2,000 or 3,000 people through here every day. I think the North Pool is probably a really good example of that. There was a significant public input in the development of the, you know, redoing the North Pool. I think we're getting ready to start a new process for the rec center as well. We're starting a master planning process to try to figure out, you know, what do we want to do that's new with our facility? And that will have upcoming significant public input opportunities as well. So I think the city as a whole is very good at asking for feedback and listening to residents and converting on that.
And you guys are one of the few divisions in the city that you get your metrics pretty regularly. And so, you know what programs people are signing up for, what's selling out, what people demand more, what maybe is time to age out of the recreation center. And you do such a great job of paying attention to that. And you never hear, well, we always do that, so we're going to keep offering that. Or no, we don't do that here. You're always just ready to, take that community feedback and stay on top of the trends. So good job for that.
Yeah, thanks for that feedback. We try to do that that's really built into our program development process. Everything we do is evaluated and we monitor the life cycle of everything and transition things out and in to make sure we keep everything fresh for everybody.
Okay, well, we close out every episode with some rapid fire questions. So it's a lot of fun when we have two of them too. So here we go. Let's start with Phil. If you had to pick one video game where you could compete with the youngins, which one would it be?
I'm going to say Super Smash Brothers for familiarity, but I know I would not be succeeding in any tournaments recently.
Tracy?
Call of Duty. Like, I am a terrible first-person shooter, so I love it. It's super fun, but the young kids do have very little patience for someone starting at my skill level.
All right, Tracey, you said gaming has become a business networking tool as well for you. How so?
Well, I think, everybody's familiar with business getting conducted on the golf course. I think it also gets conducted in this field. People exchange gamer tags, to network with other people. And when you're playing games, it's a social experience. And so I think that it works the same way.
Phil, what's the next big thing in gaming?
Yeah, I'm going to go with live streaming. So we have the technology now to do different live streams via Twitch. So I'm really excited to get our fall program off the ground running. But I think moving into the live stream where a parent could watch one of their kids compete in a match or friends could watch from home, I'm really excited about that possibility and some of the other doors it will open up in terms of broadcasting and other program opportunities that this physical space will allow us to do.
Tracy, you agree?
I do agree. I also think VR is going to be big. I think that we're seeing that not only in a gaming setting, but also in a fitness setting. We're seeing people, utilizing VR headsets for workouts and things like that. So I think VR is a lot of potential there.
Phil, best book you read this summer?
I'm going to go with Matthew McConaughey's autobiography, Green Lights. So it's a super good one. Enjoyed the meaning behind that and kind of learning more about his professional life and his personal life, kind of growing up and getting to where he is now.
Tracy?
I'd say Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. It's summertime, so I'm reading fantasy stuff. It's like a cross between Harry Potter and Starship Troopers with dragon riders.
Whoa. Holy smokes.
It's one of those big ones that's going to get picked up for TV or film, I think.
Oh, speaking of film, what's the best movie you've watched recently?
Oh, gosh. Elemental was I have a 10-year-old daughter, so it was like anything animated is what we see now.
Yeah, and I watched Man Called Otto, Netflix movie with Tom Hanks, so it had a really good meaning behind that movie, so I really enjoyed that one.
Tracy, last movie you saw in the theater?
I have no idea.
Something animated.
I watch everything streaming now. No idea.
Phil?
The new Top Gun. So super exciting to revisit that and bring that back. So that was the most recent one that I saw in theaters.
Wow, all right.
Okay, I'll start with Tracy since you've been here 28 years. For someone who's never heard of Dublin, Ohio, how would you describe it?
Innovative. Cutting edge. Green.
Everything's green. 3 talking points right there. Good job.
Yeah, those are 3. It's very similar to what I would say. I'd just say willing to push the boundaries and constantly evolve, whether that be in programming or across the citywide. I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on doing, and I believe our community appreciates that.
Tracy, if you had the magic wand and could bring the Tracey Gee Lounge to the DCRC, what would that look like and have for its amenities?
I'm hoping we can pull this off in our refresh, right? So I think a multi-purpose space that can be a cool space for people to hang out and interact with each other, take programs and classes, but then can convert itself to a tournament and broadcasting space. So light during the day with, programs and services, and then dark and super fun with broadcasted esports tournaments and commentators.
You've thought about this.
I have thought about it.
It's coming.
All right. Well, Tracy and Phil, thank you so much for your dedicated service to our city.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been super fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And you guys are such subject matter experts, and you can just tell that you love your job, and the community gets to benefit from that. So thanks for being here.
Yep,
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you as well for taking time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.